Watching Al Jazeera live from London. Our top story tonight, the situation in Gaza, where there is calm for now, but in the last hour, rockets were fired into Israel in response to an Israeli operation in Gaza, one which has claimed the lives of 10 people. Islamic Jihad says it's fired 100 rockets in total aimed at Israeli cities, including Tel Aviv. Israel's Iron Dome missile system has been deployed to intercept them. Air raid sirens have been heard in southern and central Israel. Well, it follows an Israeli operation earlier in the day. At least 10 people, including a 5-year-old girl, were killed and dozens more injured when Israeli airstrikes targeted the Islamic Jihad group. A commander was killed in one of the strikes. Yumna El-Sayed joins us live from Gaza. Bring us the very latest from there.
Yes, so until now, we're still witnessing rockets that are coming out, being launched from the Gaza Strip towards the Israeli towns and cities. Sirens are being heard in Israeli cities in southern and central parts, including Tel Aviv. Strong Israeli raids also are still happening in the Gaza Strip in different areas. So basically, there is a fire and a retaliation of fire that has been going on since the starting of the launching of rockets, which was on, started in the 9 p.m. locally, which is 18G. This was the first response by the Palestinian fighting groups here. Islamic Jihad has claimed responsibility for the rockets that are being launched from the Gaza Strip until now, despite hearing different statements from a lot of officials, Islamic Jihad, Hamas, even Palestinian committee. The factions committee here from the joint chamber saying that there is going to be a consensus reaction from all the Palestinian factions towards the Israeli aggression on the Gaza Strip and in retaliation of the assassination of Islamic Jihad leader earlier today.
Tell us a bit more about Islamic Jihad. Where do they fit into the situation there in Gaza and the armed groups?
Well, Islamic Jihad is known to be the second strongest group here in the Gaza city. Of course, the first is the Hamas, which is the power that is in power in Gaza Strip. Its military wing is Qassam Brigades. And then we have Islamic Jihad, which is the second political group here in Gaza, and its military wing is Saray al-Quds Brigade. And so these two are, since they are the top or the prominent leaders here, or groups here in Gaza, they do support each other. And as we know, in many of the escalations before that have happened here in the Gaza Strip, whenever it is Hamas or Hamas targets are the ones that are being targeted by Israel, we've always found Islamic Jihad backing up Hamas. And so this is how the equation really happens. Despite that this leader is an Islamic Jihad leader that was assassinated, but Hamas remains to have to back Islamic Jihad. So even if it does not launch rockets on its own, it has allowed Islamic Jihad to do so. And Israel has made it clear so many times, saying that since Hamas is the power in Gaza, or the ruling power in Gaza, then it must be held responsible for any attacks that do come out of Gaza, including what comes out from Islamic Jihad.
Tell us about the response in terms of ordinary Palestinians. What can they do when these air raids start? Is there anywhere they can go that's safe, or what do people generally do?
So basically, the Gaza Strip does not have any shelters. It does not have any underground shelters or anything else that people can shelter in during times of escalations or even war. So basically, they do stay in their homes. They could be in so many times, and we've seen this in many escalations, not just wars like the previous last year's war in May, where 260 Palestinians were killed and thousands were injured. They're usually subjected to many injuries. They're subjected to falling dead, to being killed in these airstrikes. And this is exactly what has happened today. So 10 people have been killed in the Israeli airstrikes, including children. A 5-year-old child, her 6-year-old brother is in critical condition. Her father was injured also. Women, normal civilians, really. So yes, there was one assassination of the Islamic Jihad leader, but the rest were normal civilians. And this is usually the casualty that happens from every escalation, from every war. The residents, the citizens, the civilians are the ones who do pay the first heavy price.
And tell us a little bit about the areas that have been targeted geographically. What do they tell us?
Yes, so basically the first targeting started with the targeting of Palestine Tower, which is a residential tower. It's in a very populated residential neighborhood just in the center of Gaza City. The apartment that was targeted in that tower was in the 7th floor, and many other civilians were injured from that targeting itself. So the raids today started with that targeting, and then several other areas and military posts for Islamic Jihad were targeted along the Gaza Strip. So yes, the Gaza Strip is an area of only 365 kilometers. More than 2.2 million people live in this very small, densely populated area. And that's why usually when there is a targeting of any military post, of any agricultural land, there is always damage. There are always casualties because of how much densely populated the Gaza Strip is. And so when we see a targeting, even if it's on a military post, anywhere in the Gaza Strip, there are always civilians that are being harmed through that targeting.
Thank you very much indeed for the time being, reporting live there from Gaza for us. Well, Rana Shubair is an author and activist who lives in the neighbourhood where the Israeli airstrikes happened. She spoke to Al Jazeera about what she experienced.
I heard about 4 to 5 loud bangs. I was asleep and I just found myself waking up running, wondering what happened. And it took a few minutes for me to follow up on the news because we didn't know whether it was rockets or shelling. And there was panic in the area, people running. You can imagine this very large apartment building, which is about 13 floors, and each floor consists of at least 5 apartments. And you can imagine the amount of horror that this caused to all the people living in the building. There were children playing because, it's a Friday, it's the weekend. And Fridays are usually peaceful. Families get together, children play outside. So this was really something that was totally unpredictable for us. And to be honest, as a mother, as an ordinary citizen here, you just, think of what happened before. I mean, when it happened today, like my kids were staring at me and we were just staring at each other. They're grown up now, they're teenagers, but it's like they were looking at me in a way saying, so it's happening again. We know what's going to happen. We know the whole scenario of, running from one place to another, not finding safety. I think children here, they are the ones that bear the brunt of these wars because as a mother, like, for example, my children and other children here have witnessed 4 major wars on Gaza Strip and other escalations, on and off escalations. And during every war, it's always the same. We're trying to find safety. they ask questions, and you're trying to find, as a mother, trying to find answers to their questions, and you feel so helpless as a parent because you don't have any answers to their questions. So it's like the whole scenario keeps running through our heads, and like, so we know what's going to happen if this escalates into a large-scale war. It's going to be like the other wars, if not worse. And there's going to be trauma, deep trauma for us and our kids. And I think this is something that many people ignore. They just talk about casualties and people being killed, but the ones who survive, they also suffer because it's not something that you can easily forget, or you can just, wake up the next day and pretend that nothing happened and go back to your ordinary life. So it's, I hope it doesn't escalate, because it's not going to be good for me, for my kids, for anybody in this place.
The Israeli Prime Minister Yair